Today we will see about CCL, that is child care leave. Child care leave is granted to all the central government employees, particularly the female government servant and male government servant. They may be granted a child care leave by an authority competent to grant the leave for a maximum period of 730 days during the entire service for taking care of two eldest surviving children, whether for rearing or for looking after any of their needs such as education, sickness and the like. So here if you can see, the eligibility condition is that you should be a female government servant or you should be a single male government servant. Single male government servant here means unmarried or widower or divorcee government servant. And the second point is that the period the child care will be granted for a period of 730 days in the entire service, that is 2 years per employee. That means for employee it will be in the entire service he will be granted some 730 days, and it will be for the eldest two surviving children, and it will be only for the eldest two surviving children only. Say for example, if you have 4 children, if say suppose if a person has 4 children, A, B, C and D, and A's age is some 20 years, B's age is 16 years, and C's age is 12 years, and D's age is 10 years. Say suppose this is 20 years. So in this case only the CCL will be granted to whom? If you can see, the purpose is for rearing or looking after any of the needs such as education, sickness and the like. And the age of the child will be the age below 18 years, and for disabled child any age for at least 40% disabled child. That means age of the child should be less than 18 years. And in case of a disabled child, if the child is disabled or physically challenged, in such a case there is no age restriction as such. Any age this CCL can be granted, provided that the disability should be 40% disability should be there, at least 40% disability should be there. Now coming into this example of A with 20 years, if a mother has 4 children, A, B, C, D, and one is 20 years, one is 16, one is 20 and one is 10 years, in such a case A is not eligible. We know that A is not eligible, and so B is eligible because A is not eligible because it is more than 18 years, unless and until it is he is a disabled child, and 16 years B is eligible. But though these two B and C are less than 12 years, they are not eligible. Why? Because of this condition. That is, what is that condition? Eldest surviving children. So only these two child, if they are eligible, they will be given, but not the this one. So the eldest is A and B. A is not eligible, and then B only will be eligible, and B also becomes ineligible after 2 years after passing 18 years. So in this family no one will be eligible after 2 years. So this is the circumstance we have to understand. And in the service book, this CCL will be maintained in the proforma given below, and the period of CCL taken from 2 dates will be given. Balance of CCL will be noted in the 3rd column, and the 4th column will be the date on which date of the balance, and the signature and designation of the certifying officer will be made on the 5th column. This is pasted in the service book and will be maintained in continuous order, because this CCL will be maintained separately and will not be included in EL or HPL, and there will not be any deduction in lieu of the EL or HPL for this one. Spells is that the minimum is not less than 5 days at a time in each spell. That means at a time, if you want to avail CCL, you have to apply for at least 5 days in a spell, and the maximum is in a single spell is at a time you can apply for 730 days also. That is the maximum spell, and 3 spells in a calendar year are permitted. That means if say suppose if you have availed some 15 days in one spell and some 20 days in another spell and some 30 days in another spell in a calendar year, then on the 4th spell you are not allowed to apply for CCL. Why? Because only 3 spells are allowed in a calendar year. That is the reason. and 6 spells for this single female government servant. Here you should understand this is a single female government servant, not male servant. Only single female government servant. Instead of 3 spells, they will have 6 spells in a calendar year. Okay. Another point is that CCL is in probation. Generally, the CCL will not ordinarily be granted during probation period, except in case of certain extreme situations where the leave sanctioning authority is satisfied about the need of the child care leave to the probationer, provided that the period for which such leave sanctioned is minimal. So only minimal period is granted. Normally probation period in probation, CCL will not be granted, but there is an exception that in extreme situations and if the competent authority satisfies so, probationer period during the probation period also this CCL can be granted, but it should be only for the minimal period. There is no mention about what is the minimal period, but it is up to the competent authority to decide. Next point is that combination of leave. It can be combined. CCL leave can be combined with any kind of leave due and except the CL. Except CL, it can be combined with any kind of other EL or HPL or whatever it is. In continuation of other leaves, CCL can also be availed in continuation of other leaves. Continuation of committed leave up to 60 days without medical certificate also it can be used. Similarly, it can be granted any leave in continuation of CCL up to 1 year without a medical certificate. Generally, any leave beyond a certain limit will have to be processed with a medical certificate. But in this case, CCL can be granted in continuation of CCL. Any other leave can be granted up to 1 year without a medical certificate also. Counting intermittent holidays. If there are intermittent holidays, then the holidays falling during the CCL would also count for CCL similar to EL. As in case of EL, whatever leave that you are availing intermittent with intermittent holidays, that intermittent holidays will also be treated as EL. Similarly, any intermittent holidays in between CLs in CCL, they will be taken as CCL itself. Another point is that LTC while on CCL. LTC may be availed while an employee is on CCL, that is also permitted, and foreign travel while on CCL. Foreign travel is also permitted while on CCL, subject to condition that the competent authority approves it. And last one is that leave salary period is 100% of salary for the first 365 days and 80% of salary for the next 365 days. So this out of this 730 days, that is 2 years, first year you will get 100% of salary as leave salary that was drawn before leave, and 80% of salary will be drawn for the next 365. In the second year you will get 80% of the salary. So, and finally the child care leave shall not be debited against any leave account. So this is all about child care leave. Just you may have to apply a child care leave. It is as good as any other leave application. You can apply on a white paper stating the reason, that the reason should be for rearing or looking after their needs such as education, sickness and like. And if you say emergent leave and you apply for CCL, they will not grant. You should write that specifically that the CCL is meant for rearing or looking after your need or for exams or some education like that. Okay. Thank you. Subscribe to Career Post. For more marks and higher ranking, subscribe to Career Post. Thank you.